We begin in the United States, where the race for the White House takes another strange twist. Presidential candidate Donald Trump faced two separate legal tests in New York and Washington. Here in the nation's capital, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments surrounding Donald Trump's claims of absolute immunity from federal prosecution over election interference in 2020. A majority of the justices did not embrace complete immunity for the former president. However, the conservative judges who hold a 6-3 majority did lean toward a certain degree of immunity for U.S. presidents. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was in New York attending his hush money trial and was denied permission by Justice Juan Merchan to travel to Washington for the immunity case hearing.
This is just a political witch hunt. Thank you very much.
How are you feeling about the Supreme Court argument in Trump? Are you ready to rescind the argument today?
I think that the Supreme Court has a very important argument before it today. I would have loved to have been there, but this judge would not allow that to happen. I should be there, but he wouldn't allow it to happen. I think he puts himself above the Supreme Court, which is unfortunate, isn't it? But the U.S. Supreme Court had a monumental hearing on immunity, and the immunity having to do with presidential immunity. And I think it was made clear, I hope it was made clear, that a president has to have immunity, or you don't have a president, or at most you can say it would be a ceremonial president. That's not what the founders had in mind.
Now, despite juggling two legal cases, Donald Trump did find the time to verbally attack his opponent, President Joe Biden.
Open your eyes, and we can't let this continue to happen to our country. On another matter, you know, the economy has just been reported to be doing very badly. The stock market's way down, and some horrible numbers came out, including very high numbers on inflation, and in particular gasoline at $7.50 in California. And very importantly, as you look at the various colleges all over the country and beyond colleges, because it's happening in other areas too, you see what's happening on the front having to do with Palestine and Israel and protests and hate, anger. Biden is sending an absolutely horrible message. Horrible, horrible message. He has no idea how to message. He can't speak. He can't put two sentences together. He doesn't know what to do. This is not our president.
Meanwhile, President Biden rallied in upstate New York with a message of what he is calling as America's comeback story. President Biden pledged to make America the leader in semiconductor technology.
We're bringing advanced chips manufacturing back to America after 40 years. And it's going to transform our semiconductor industry, a pillar of a modern economy. And it's going to create an entirely new ecosystem in research, design, manufacturing of advanced chips here in America. Folks, I determined that I'm never going to let us be vulnerable to wait lines again. If it's essential, we're going to make it here in America. And together.
Now, President Biden's trip to the Empire State comes just a day after he went after his rival, Donald Trump, and criticized the ex-president's policies during his tenure in office.
Trump added more to the national debt than any president in a single term in all of American history, to the national debt. I cut the national debt so far and still got all these other things in by doing simple things like, you know, remember those 40 Fortune 500 companies, those Fortune 500 companies, 40 of them, I think, no, it's 50, who didn't pay a single penny in taxes, made $40 billion. Guess what? I did a terrible thing. I made them pay 15%. And we cut the deficit by $70 billion.
Now, going on the offensive, President Biden also took direct shots at Donald Trump and his much-discussed hair.
By the way, remember when he was trying to deal with COVID, he said, just inject a little bleach in your veins. He missed it, all went to his hair. Look. I shouldn't have said that. I probably shouldn't have said that. You guys are a bad influence on me.
Now, as Donald Trump shuttles from court to court, President Biden's speeches and campaign stops have emphasized an improving economy and maintaining America's political heft on the diplomatic stage. And with Donald Trump sticking to personal attacks against his Democratic rival, President Biden is slowly taking the lead in early polls by focusing on political and social issues. Momentum shifts, ebbs and flows, and the occasional October surprise are always the hallmarks of a White House run. But this race is shaping up to be unique, even by presidential standards. What to expect day to day is anyone's guess, and I suspect with a mercurial ex-president and an elusive incumbent, they would not have it any other way. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.